Imagine inheriting your uncle's serene Texas ranch, complete with a sparkling private lake that's been in the family for generations, only to pull up one summer evening and find a full-blown neighborhood circus camped out on it. Grills smoking, kids splashing, and some self-appointed HOA overlord strutting around like she owns the deed. That's exactly what hit me, Ian Miller. Like a ton of bureaucratic bricks, turning what should have been a peaceful family camping trip into a showdown that exposed the rotten underbelly of suburban community spirit. But here's the kicker. The woman who called the cops on us for trespassing on our own land ended up handing them the rope to hang her own illegal operation. The flashing blue and red lights pierced the twilight like accusatory fingers, transforming Sapphire Lake from our family's hidden gem into a crime scene straight out of a bad cop show. I stood there, marshmallow stick in hand, watching Deputy Ramirez crunch across the gravel, his face set in that neutral cop mask that screams, "This could go either way." My daughter, Sophie, 13 and already too wise for her years, froze mid-bite on her S-more, her eyes darting between me and the patrol car. "Dad, are we arrested?" she whispered, her voice cracking just enough to twist my gut. Arrested? For roasting marshmallows on land my Uncle Ted had willed to me 6 months ago? Land where I'd spent every boyhood summer learning to skip stones and bait hooks under his gruff but loving eye? No, kiddo, I thought, but I kept my mouth shut for now. 30 years slinging hammers on construction sites had taught me one golden rule. Stay cool when the heat's on, or you'll get burned. Our border collie, Max, sensed the trouble first. Ears pinned back, a low rumble building in his chest as he planted himself between Sophie and the approaching figures. Smart boy. He'd always been my silent alarm system, picking up on vibes humans missed. And right now, the vibe was pure entitlement wrapped in a power suit. Emerging from the tree lean like a suburban specter was Karen Whitaker. Sorry. Ms. Whitaker, HOA president. With her impeccable bob haircut, pearl earrings, and a clipboard that might as well have been a scepter. She marched up to the deputy with the confidence of someone who'd never heard the word no. "Officer, thank goodness you're here," she announced in that clipped, authoritative tone that screamed boardroom bully. "These interlopers have been squatting on Willow Creek HOA property for days. We've got reports of unauthorized fires and dogs off-leash." She shot Max a disdainful glance, as if his wagging tail violated some sacred covenant. I bit back a laugh. Squatting? On my own ranch? But I held my tongue, watching her performance. Karen had that classic HOA glow, all smiles and for the good of the community. But her eyes were sharp, calculating. Behind her, the lake buzzed with activity that sure as hell hadn't been there in my childhood memories. A fancy dock with engraved plaques reading, "Willow Creek Community Access." Picnic shelters wired for lights, even gravel paths lined with "No trespassing." HOA members only signs. It looked like a mini resort, probably costing tens of thousands. All plunked down on Uncle Ted's 20 acres without so much as a "may I." Sophie, bless her tech-savvy soul, had her phone out already, recording discreetly. "Dad, this is nuts," she muttered. Nuts didn't cover it. This was the start of unraveling a web of lies that had turned my family's legacy into Karen's personal piggy bank. As Deputy Ramirez approached, I kept my hands visible, old habit from job sites where one wrong move could escalate fast. "Officer, this is Miller Ranch. Been in my family since '85. We're just camping." My voice was steady, reasonable. No need to yell. Facts would do the yelling for me. Karen huffed, flipping open her clipboard like it was the Constitution itself. "Community property, deputy. We've got minutes from our lake committee dating back to 2018. Investments in infrastructure, docks, pavilions, trails. These people are disrupting our scheduled events." She thrust papers forward, each one a masterpiece of HOA jargon, maintenance fees, community enhancement, usage protocols. It was all so polished, so official-looking, designed to bury you in bureaucracy before you could dig out the truth. But I was ready. From my backpack, Uncle Ted's old waterproof one, etched with his mantra, "Papers first, panic never." I pulled my folder. Deeds, wills, tax records, all stamped and sealed. "Take a look at these, deputy. County-verified ownership. No easements, no shared rights. Ramirez radioed it in, his face impassive. The silence stretched, broken only by Max's soft whine and the lake's gentle slap against the dock. Dispatch crackled back. Confirmed. Miller owns it lock, stock, and barrel. No HOA claims on file. Karen's face? Priceless. That supreme smugness cracked like cheap veneer, shifting to confusion, then a flicker of oh shit panic. Well, Ted gave us verbal permission years ago, she stammered, her voice losing its edge. We maintained it for him, kept it from going wild. Maintained? More like monetized. But I stayed calm. Ma'am, if you've got that in writing for permanent bills and fees, let's see it. Spoiler, she didn't. The deputy glanced between her stack of evidence and my ironclad docs. If this is private land without authorization. He didn't finish, but we all heard the unspoken. Trespassing. On her end. Sophie lowered her phone slightly, eyes wide. Max's growl faded as the energy shifted. From us as villains to Karen as the fool who just spotlighted her own scam. She'd called the law to boot us off our land, only to prove she was the intruder. Irony so thick you could spread it on toast. Flashback 24 hours, and the drive to the ranch felt like pure freedom. Sophie bounced in the shotgun seat, her backpack stuffed with snacks and gadgets. Dad, owning a lake? That's like being a king. Max panted in the back, tail thumping against the seat. Uncle Ted, the old bachelor rancher, had passed quietly, leaving me the place he'd poured his life into. I'd visited as a kid, but life, work, divorce, raising Sophie had kept me away. Now, with summer vacation kicking off, it was time to reclaim those roots. The cabin was just as I remembered. Weathered wood, practical, no frills. Sophie bolted out, Max hot on her heels, both exploring like it was Disneyland. But as we hiked the shoreline, the changes hit like red flags. The lake was pristine, sure, but now festooned with improvements. A $10,000 dock with fancy railings, a $15,000 shelter complete with outlets for community BBQs. Fire pits bolted down like they owned the dirt, trails with signs barking orders. Stay on path. HOA Rule 47. Even a parking lot graveled smooth, probably another $6,000. Total? Easy $40,000 in unauthorized bling, turning our retreat into a public park. Max whined, sniffing everywhere, confused by the layers of stranger scents. Why is he freaking out, Dad? Sophie asked. Because this isn't just our land anymore, I replied, a knot forming in my stomach. Someone had claimed it. A voice called from the woods. Ian Miller? Welcome back. It was Mrs. Lopez, a longtime neighbor, beaming as she approached. Ted's nephew. The HOA's done wonders with the lake. Karen Whitaker's a miracle worker, cleanups, events, kid programs. Ted loved the company in his old age. Her words landed like punches. Ted, isolated and ailing, had let neighbors fish casually. But this? A full takeover? Back at the cabin, digging through Ted's papers, I found a note. Karen, okay for your family to fish weekends. Keep it low-key. Ted, 2018. Simple neighborliness, twisted into empire building. Online, the Willow Creek HOA site boasted exclusive lake access. $20/month/family. With 60 homes? That's $14,400 a year. 5 years? $72,000 pocketed on stolen land. Photos showed parties, schedules, a business on my dirt. By evening, cars rolled in like clockwork. Families unpacked like it was theirs. Kids on the dock, adults grilling. Sophie whispered, "Should we say something?" Before I could, Karen approached, clipboard at ready. "Sir, community hours are 6 to 9 p.m. Tuesdays. Membership." She didn't know me from Adam. In her world, we were the outsiders. The absurdity burned. Asking the owner if he paid dues to use his lake. I smiled thinly. "Actually, I'm Ian Miller. This is my ranch." Her polite mask held, but her eyes narrowed. "We have established rights." Ted approved. Rights? More like wrongs. Approaching the group felt like crashing a party uninvited. Ironic, since it was my party to crash. "Folks, I'm Ian, Ted's heir. This is private land. Smiles all around at first. Ted was great. Welcome. But Karen swooped in. Mr. Miller, our usage is grandfathered. Community benefit. Her voice dripped false sweetness, but the clipboard waved like a threat. Heat rose. 5 years of exploitation while Ted faded alone? Fees funneled who knows where? I kept cool, but inside, I was mapping my counterattack. Whispers started. Is he serious? Karen smiled tightly. Let's discuss privately. No need to disrupt. Disrupt her cash cow, she meant. That night, after the crowd left, I pored over records. HOA minutes bragged about acquiring lake access but no legal docs. Karen's bio, dedicated to order and enhancement. Translation, power-hungry control freak. Rumors online, fines for wrong paint colors, threats over lawn heights. She'd built her throne on fear. Sophie, scrolling forums, found complaints. Whitaker's a tyrant, but no one fought back. I would, quietly. First, a lawyer consult. Solid case for trespass, fraud. Then, evidence gathering. Max and I walked boundaries at dawn, noting every illegal build. Sophie documented with photos. Karen noticed her car cruised by, eyes tracking us. Subtle warnings started. Notes on the cabin door, comply with community standards or face action. Tensions simmered. A week later, back for another camp, we found no camping signs planted on my land. I pulled them up. Karen showed up with 2 board members, all officious. Mr. Miller, these improvements are protected. Ted implied consent. Implied? Show me the paper, I said calmly. She bristled. Our minutes suffice. For the greater good. Greater good, her wallet's good. Sophie filmed discreetly. Dad, she's gaslighting. Smart kid. Whispers spread. Neighbors eyed me warily, thanks to Karen's spin. Troublemaker trying to hoard the lake. I stayed silent, letting her dig deeper. Escalation hit when she called an emergency meeting at the shelter on my property. I crashed it. Folks, this land's mine. No HOA rights. Karen countered smoothly. Adverse possession pending. We've invested. Lies. Murmurs rose, some doubtful, others loyal. Karen's kept it nice, one said. Nice with stolen funds. I presented deeds. She waved minutes. Outdated, she sniffed. Post-meeting, harassment amped. Anonymous complaints to code enforcement. Ironic, her builds were unpermitted. Rumors I was evicting families for greed. I endured documenting. Lawyer prepped suits for trespass, embezzlement. Then the water theft surfaced. Exploring pipes, I traced them, siphoning my lake to HOA pools and lawns. Thousands of gallons yearly, sold covertly to landscapers. Karen's side hustle. Dad, she's a thief, Sophie exclaimed. Proof mounted. Invoices, hidden pumps. Karen panicked. More signs, threats. Leave or regret, a note read. Max growled at shadows. Neighbors split. Some apologized quietly, others parroted her. She's just enforcing rules. Rules she made up. The boil-over came one night. We camped. Lights flashed again. Deputy Ramirez, round 2. Karen. Trespassers destroying property. Us. She meant her illegal stuff. I showed deeds again. Radio check. Confirmed mine. Her face crumpled. But, community, deputy. Ma'am, without permission, this is your trespass. She flipped. Ted wanted this. No proof. Sophie played her video, Karen admitting implied rights. Game changer. But she doubled down, midnight madness. We caught her and a crony dismantling pipes, burning papers. Proving what? Nothing left, she snarled, face twisted in delusion. Her pal begged, Karen, stop. This is felony. But pride blinded her. I called Ramirez. He arrived, photographed the mess. Obstruction, ma'am. Neighbors watched, phones out. Her empire crumbled publicly. The order keeper exposed as chaos queen. Arrest followed, fraud, theft, false reports. Court, 24 months, served 12 for snitching on other HOAs. $120,000 restitution, fees, water, damages. Her house foreclosed, bought with dirty money. HOA dissolved, rules voided. We remediated, kept some access for good neighbors. $300/year total, voluntary. Community healed. Apologies flowed, values rebounded. I turned the site into an education spot, workshops on rights. No HOA BS. Sophie thrived, Max certified therapy dog. Lesson: power corrupts, but patience exposes it. Was Karen a visionary improving wasted land? Or just a thief in pearls hiding behind community? You tell me, right or wrong.